Welcome to Kaizen Time, part of the Blood, Sweat, and Business podcast, where we provide constant improvement to businesses through timely, actionable financial solutions. Do you want answers to your financial questions? Email us at bsp@kaizencpas.com. I'm your host, Mark Valesky. Now let's get started. Welcome to another episode of Kaizen Time. I'm joined by Eric Jorn, a partner here at the firm. Eric, how are you doing?
Mark, I'm doing awesome. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well too. And it's awesome to see you physically right there, because there's a big difference. We message each other quite a bit, right?
Absolutely.
But there's a big difference between messaging someone and working with them face to face.
Absolutely.
And that goes right into the heart of what we're talking about: return to office mandates.
Yeah. So if you've been paying attention to what's happening in the news, happening in the employment sector right now, big trend right now is, and you're seeing JP Morgan Chase do this, Amazon's doing this, Tesla, the Federal Reserve has done it. They're bringing everybody back into the office after letting everybody go remote for quite a while since COVID.
And they're getting some kickback on that.
They're definitely getting some pushback. People adjusted to a lifestyle that they expected. And now to change their lifestyle again that's a big change. Mm-hmm. A lot of these companies are located in major metros, commuting from, and maybe these people since the start of all this maybe they were close to the major metro before, or maybe they've always been far, and maybe they shaved 2 hours of commute off their day, and that could be easily at least 10 hours a week back in their week.
Right.
That's a pretty significant amount.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And then some of these people, I know specifically after COVID, they left Chicago.
Yeah.
They moved out to, I don't want to say the sticks, but they found a completely new life. So for them, it's a completely different life-changing event, right?
Yeah.
They're going to have to move everything they have. Their kids may be in school. This is a big deal. So is it worth it at that point?
Yeah. So why are companies doing this? Why disrupt things?
Because they have a contract with the water cooler company they need to utilize that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. They're sick of the food rotting in the cafeteria, and now we might be on a little bit of something here with that, right? So these businesses at some point in time decided to invest into significant pieces of real estate. Mm. Now they're watching that investment be well underutilized.
I want to just pause you for a second right now and tell them they should all watch our podcast episode on real estate, because they could just sell it and make a killing if they have a major metropolitan area piece of real estate.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
That's clearly not the route that they want to go. So carry on.
And if they all did that at once, we might have a little bit of a flood in the market. That could be dangerous. So obviously, right, you have an investment. It's being super underutilized. If you've seen some viral videos that have gone around of saying, "Hey, I'm back in the office today for the culture," and then all of a sudden it's them by themselves and they're looking over desolate cubes. That's so I understand that, right? And one thing that businesses have had with this kind of split of remote versus in person is that it's actually very much so detracted for those who do decide to want to come into the office on a regular recurring basis, because you come to an office that is pretty empty and desolate. Mm-hmm. So that's probably been an experience decline for the in-office worker of the past. So they're probably trying to also cater towards everybody.
Well, one thing I've noticed specifically here at Kaizen, the top floor, it's pretty. There's a lot of open space for accountants, right?
Yeah.
But YPD, they're almost all there, and they're in a tight knit area.
Yep.
So, and then they're there very regularly too.
Yeah. Every business has its own needs, right? So the payroll service department is a lot more right now. Hey, we need to move very quickly, right? Payroll is kind of a fast paced moving process. It usually ebbs and flows pretty greatly, where a lot of people are addressing things immediately, and then it kind of slows down, and then it speeds up and slows down. And this is on a week-to-week basis, right? Whereas in the accounting and tax space, right, where a lot of times it's a lot more project-based, long-term, slow-paced from that standpoint. So somebody might be inside of a project for 4 hours. They have their door shut. They're deep diving in that project for 4 hours. So then their in-person experience is a lot different than a more of a fast pace, almost like I don't want to say a call center, but maybe a little bit more of a call center feel where we're constantly supporting people running their payroll on a regular recurring basis.
Well, and what's really the office experience that's different for someone who's working on a project for 4 hours with their door shut versus I could have just done that at home?
Yeah, right? Exactly.
So I do get it. Like, for example, I work with very sensitive documents. So when I go to the office, it works a lot better that I'm within our system. And I'm dealing with the people face to face because we have things that we have to turn around within like 30 minutes sometimes. So the needs of the business require that, right? As opposed to, again, if you're project based, you have a plan, and if more or less everyone stays on target, you don't have that kind of concern. Absolutely.
Yes, diving kind of back into what other reasons are they calling these return to office mandates, right? So performance is one. I have not seen very many studies that actually support performance-based issues.
Do you want to add the word credible to that?
Especially credible reports. I guess there are, you can, and this is the thing about anytime you're doing any type of research on anything, right? Any article or report can be cherry picked.
Of course.
And framed in a manner. You always need to read multiple different iterations and then ask, is this causation or correlation, right? Because that all of a sudden creates all sorts of different, can create different headlines that can be misleading.
And you also have to think about, who's producing it. What are they trying to communicate? Because again, everyone's got a kind of little spin to it, right?
Yeah. It's hard to completely remove biases from anything, right? Whoever funded the report likely had. Geez, it wouldn't surprise me like if a large fund group that owns a lot of commercial real estate might fund a study saying that in-office workers are much more productive than remote-based workers, right? So definitely you have to consider your source. You have to do multiple frames of resources, listen to both sides, see what makes the most sense. The biggest thing, what is my business needs? What makes sense for me? Now, as we're looking at these larger companies, like your Tesla, your Amazon, et cetera, and they're saying, hey, everybody needs to come back in office, right? They're in a very technological space that maybe they don't have the physical in-demand things, right? They're not working, the employees that they are having return to office. It doesn't make sense from a business needs.
They're not building, they're at a desk.
Yep. And you can make arguments of, hey, certain people lose out on the ability to get inherent training, meaning, hey, I'm around some conversations that are happening. And we've talked about how to create a good remote working environment. We'll continue to talk about it as the world continues to adopt that. But in my opinion, these are also spaces that are going to be affected greatly by technology and AI as it sits right now. Is there an easier way to lay off a bunch of people by saying you have to now change your life pretty dramatically and come back to office full time? Because if you also notice, a lot of these RTO mandates aren't slow phase-ins. Hey, year one, we're going to do 1 day a week. Year two, we're going to do 2 days, right? It took us 4 years to adopt this since COVID. Now we're going to do a hard cut and you're 3 to 5 days cold turkey right back. That's a big lifestyle change for a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, and as we discussed, you can't just change on a dime like that.
Yeah.
You do make a great point though. And I think it's understated and underrepresented when it's talked about specifically in the news, because the news will just say like, oh, hey, they're laying these people off because they're not coming back to work, but they're not saying, Well, is that really the reason?
Yeah. Is it productivity issues, right? And I mean, if you look at the market as a whole, has been some of the best performing, has had some of the best performances it has had in a very long time.
Well, and again, the tech industry is changing, but the tech industry has had huge layoffs specifically. So I do very much agree, and I do see all those layoffs happening, and they're all happening around the same time. So I have a strong feeling they are all very much connected with artificial intelligence.
And it might, right. It might not be the only reason. There's probably a multitude of reasons, but I guarantee you it was aiding their decision making when it was such a drastic change, right? It wasn't a response to a declining performance.
Well, and a lot of these publicly traded companies, for example, have their CEOs saying, "Hey, we're going to be laying people off." Before they did all this, so I feel like it's all pretty easy to connect the dots.
Absolutely.
So anyway, getting back to this whole returning to office mandate. So it's not really per se connected to office performance. It's honestly mostly connected to the needs of the business.
Absolutely.
You want to go back a little bit more into the needs of the business?
Yeah. So if you're making a decision around this, right? Because a lot of us might be sitting here saying, hey, we need to change something up. You really need to stop and think about what benefits will I yield? What costs will it have on my culture, on my employees, on my team, to make that shift back, bring people back in on a regular recurring basis? Am I going to lose some key players because of it, right? Do they have, has the freedom of remote work provided them an opportunity to accomplish things or rearrange their life, and that has made things much better for them? And then also look at your business needs, right? Is the business truly going to gain additional benefit from it? And then if you are going to bring them back in and they start coming back into office, are you going to be intentional with their time in office face to face to truly make a difference for the business, right? If you bring them in and everybody's still doing Microsoft Teams meetings all day and everybody goes and sits in their desks and put on headsets to meet remotely, I think you might have a little bit of a culture shock of, why am I doing this?
Well, I do agree, looking at your business as saying, do we need this? Because again, if you are a business owner, you are owning a piece of property. And again, you could make yourself/business a considerable amount of money. Just setting that all aside and investing more into your tech and being remote. Like that is very much an option. But one thing I do want to hone in on, if you're hesitant to do remote work or anything like that, because, hey, people aren't learning enough, they're not talking enough, they're not doing those things, those fall into something that you love, which is your training and systems. That means something that is part of the work, the onboarding, isn't being done. And if it is done, that would correct it. Now, again, not to plug previous podcasts we've done, we did one with Clay, and he very much went through, this is why we spend so much more time on training, and they are watched, and their numbers are reviewed every day /week. And it clearly works.
Absolutely. Well, and actually, you don't need to just listen to that podcast if you're thinking about remote work. Any business should be, whether I'm sitting 5 feet away from the next person or 500 miles away from that person, we should all be thinking about managing and measuring our business in that fashion. Because at the end of the day, right, those numbers don't lie. If I'm measuring the performance of my business by how much I see this person look like they are working,
very true.
That sometimes is a fallacy, right? Sometimes the person that's there from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. every single day, if you're not actually measuring what they're doing in that time frame, they're not working quite as hard. Well, they might be working hard, but they're not working.
They're not being as productive.
They're not being as productive, and they're not working the right way for your business.
So as we kind of wrap it up, I think we can get this all kind of summed up in just a few sentences, which is bringing people back to work the best move for your business.
Absolutely. Is that you have to, again, consider what your business needs are and make sure you match your business needs with your decision making.
Yeah.
Don't do it because that's what you're hearing that other people are doing. Don't make a decision based on feel with that. You can get real-time data on it, right? Figure out, is my business increasing, decreasing? Make a data-driven decision when it comes to that too.
And if you don't feel comfortable making that data-driven decision, there are people who can help you with that.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Anything else you want to add, Eric?
I think we covered it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Kaizen Time, part of the Blood, Sweat, and Business podcast. If you like what you heard, subscribe and leave a 5-star review. This podcast has been brought to you by Kaizen CPAs Plus Advisors, providing advisory and accounting services to help you grow your business. Learn more at kaizencpas.com or email us at bsb@kaizencpas.com.